Man with Gareth McGuinness.
Welcome back to the 12th man. We've got the League Cup final podcast tonight. Can't believe we're here already, nearly the end of February. Hey, we started all the way back in June. The season is coming to a climax, and the two lads are in, which is good news for Liverpool because they're involved in the cup final. I was kind of half hoping when the season started, I would be involved in this from a fan's point of view, but unfortunately, it's the same old story. I'm hosting, and I have to watch all our teams take part. But Liverpool meet Chelsea on Sunday, lads. Anyone noticed I've turned the banner red tonight for the lads and everything, so they're getting a wee bit of favoritism. We will speak about Chelsea as well. Owen, it's been a long time coming, I suppose, because you have to wait about 5 weeks for this final after the semi-final, and I suppose after the first leg, Liverpool probably thought they were there anyway, so they had to wait even longer. I suppose Chelsea had to turn around their first leg, but everyone always says League Cup's not much, but I mean it's again another big final between two big clubs. So I mean, why would you not want to be involved?
100%. Like people, I'm one of these fans. Like if we're not in it, you don't care about it. But if you're in it, you want to win it. Like, and it's the first trophy of the season, and we're going for everything at the minute. So hopefully we can start off our trophy haul this season by a win on Sunday. Obviously, I'd be hoping it's in better circumstances with half our team not being dead. But you just have to get on with it and hope we can pull out a result on Sunday. But if I was a betting man, I would say it's going straight to penalties. That's the way I see it.
Funny enough, the last two finals between these two teams have went to penalties after 0-0 draws, but I think I'll be surprised if this one ended 0-0. Mates, how about you? Looking forward to the final on Sunday?
As always, hey, is just go away what Owen says there. No, you're not on it. You're not really bothered, to be fair, but when you're pushing on all fronts, it's nice to get the first one in the bag. Nice early trophy, February, and a good wee Sunday session out in the bar with the boys. Like, as you say, hey, it's been tight the last couple of finals, but I'm expecting nothing but goals with we've started our firepower up front, all depending. Even last night we were a wee bit iffy. We didn't know who was going to turn up or who was going to pull us out of the fire, like with the big boys mustn't, but they seem to step up in the second half. So it just shows you that there's goals all over. Doesn't matter if whoever's up front. We're a massive, massive threat. And I just think a big pitch in Wembley suits us. Plenty of space to spread the ball and get the wide players in. So I'm expecting lots of goals. Definitely, I cannot see an 0-0 draw this time round.
Funny enough, them two finals, I remember watching them a couple of years ago, and how they were 0-0s, I don't really know. Callum's in the chat. He's going to the final on Sunday, so all the best on Sunday, Callum. Enjoy your trip to London. Darren's also on his way back as well, I believe, from England. I wish he
Can I say something, Gareth?
Go ahead.
Can I just say something before we go any further? I got a request earlier from Darren, and he just wanted to congratulate Stefan on his excellent predictions last night, an Arsenal victory and Luton getting something out of the game. So, brilliant, Stefan, as always. Look forward to speaking to you in the future.
We'll be speaking about them results last night very shortly. Say Darren's coming back from Heathrow, but I bet he wishes he was staying on Heathrow and he had a ticket for the final, like Callum. But great atmosphere as always to be involved at Wembley. Mates, let's stick with you. I'll ask you the same one after. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be a League Cup final because I know Liverpool have a rich history in our competitions. I mean, what's your best memories of cup finals supporting Liverpool?
Oh, the recent memories is the big ones, the European finals, and especially the FA Cup final against West Ham. That's one of, somebody says to me, sometimes it kind of sneaks in before Istanbul at times, it all depending. If somebody asks you about your basically your local cup finals with your FA Cups you care about, it has to be the one that sticks out. Like, I know there has been many, but long before my time, but the one that definitely sticks in the memory is the Stevie G one from near enough a halfway line, like from about 40 yards.
I think he said he was that tired. I think he was saying he was that tired. He just had it.
He's been quoted in that saying he had nothing left, and he just thought he would just give it one hit and see what happens. And I say, and the rest history, and Pardew doing his wee dance on the line on the sideline before that and all, and. It was just
he didn't learn his lesson. He did it then. He did it with Palace and United come back as well. So two times they did that in the final. And I came back, they beat him. feel free, anybody watching as well, Liverpool fans, stick in your best memories of your cup finals, and we'll stick them on screen. Darren saying this DVG final, I think he referred to the one Meats is talking about. Oh, and I suppose that final would have been your first, maybe, around the time I remember watching that final.
It was literally the first match I remember watching as a Liverpool fan. So I think that was the match that sort of brought me into being a Liverpool fan. So that one has a special place in my heart too. I like the 2019 Champions League final as well. Can't remember who we beat in that final, but I will not speak about that. But
I wouldn't be remembered for being a good game, I'll tell you that.
No, it will not be. No, the FA Cup final from West Ham, that would be one. Even the two finals against Chelsea, because it was just nerve wracking going straight to penalties, and when your team's in penalties, you never like to watch it. But it's as Meat said, Liverpool have been in that many cup finals even before my lifetime that I've watched that I've watched highlights of. Like all them memories, they just make you think, I wish I was alive for that, and I wish I was alive for that. But you know what? Hopefully, we can make another great memory now on Sunday.
It's funny because one of the ones I remember involving Liverpool was quite funny, actually. Liverpool did win it, but I think it might have been 2012. I think it was young Mark McGuinness. It was his first communion, I think it might have been at the time, or his confirmation, one or the other. And we ended up in Callum's house, and it was through the Roy Hodgson and Kenny Dalglish saviour coming in. They won the cup final penalties against Cardiff, and young McGinn and Oil Mark just poured their eyes out on the living room floor. So it does show you that this cup can mean a lot on the day.
It was the last trophy Spurs have won.
Well, that's it. I mean, I would be loving to be involved this weekend, but unfortunately, we're not even playing. We were down to play Chelsea, so we have a rest weekend. Callum saying Paris for me, referring to last year, 2 years ago, the Champions League final, which Madrid won. This is great weekend minus the result. Yeah, Callum was involved. And Darren saying the Michael Owen final. Famously, Arsenal dominated that game, and Michael Owen turned it around, especially with that winner.
We don't speak about him.
You don't want to speak about it. Mates mentioned it earlier about the week's results there, so we're going to speak about these results because they were quite significant. It all started on Tuesday night. Man City beat Brentford, which everyone expected, and then everyone was saying Luton maybe could give Liverpool a run for money with Liverpool's injuries. Maybe some players might have been rested for the final. And at half time, I suppose Liverpool. When I was speaking to you, weren't confident. I said, "Don't worry, he'll turn this around." And in the end, Liverpool.
I've said that so many times this season.
And in the end, Liverpool absolutely rinsed Luton in the second half. Mates, I mean, what was your summary of last night's game? It was two completely different halves of football.
It's the old cliche game of two halves. Started all right first 10, 15, 20 minutes. Started well. Diaz could have put us 2, maybe 3 up. Controlled the game, even though we went 1 down, controlled the game for the complete 90 minutes. I know you would say a 2-3 minute spell where they got their goal, and then they probably had maybe a chance or two after that in the whole 90. Completely controlled the game. Looked clueless, to be honest, I thought up front. Diaz, I was actually starting to think like Stefan. He was saying Diaz runs around like a headless chicken, and he was like that in the first half, so he was. It was so easy to read. You know, you knew exactly when he was going to just drop out his left and try and come back on his right. He was just so the defender had him in his pocket for the whole first half. Elliott looked completely out of form in the first half. He's passing, nothing. There was no pressure in the ball. There was no, and then whatever Klopp says in the second at half time, it was just night and day. I mean, it was the Liverpool that we all know and love, and it was a high pressing. The tenacity off the ball, on the ball, smothering them, 2-3 players. Everybody was going to press at the one time where one person in the first half would have went to press. The rest weren't following up. You know what I mean? They were sitting back too deep at times, I thought. But they came out and whatever he said at half time, the boys came out and they started putting the ball in the back of the net. Took a couple of chances first at the start. But then once one went in, Janie and I sat in my wee girl was sitting beside her and I says, the floodgates are going to open now. I just knew once one went in, Luton's head would have dropped, and I actually knew because we'd done it. I can't mind the game we'd done it before. Was it Fulham when we scored one? We scored literally straight away again, and I just knew with the opposition that we were against. I knew once we get one, within 5 minutes we would have had another, and they did have another big chance just after it was 2-1. And then Liverpool just kind of, no, after that, then we just bombed forward, put another one and another one, and it was quite comfortable in the end.
Oh, and what about you? I mean, this seems to be a common theme, more so away from home than at home, but where Liverpool can start slow first halves, even find themselves behind, come out second half and turn it around. I mean, why do you think it's taken Klopp to get them, give them like a rally up at half time? Because, I mean, although Meats was right about the control, Liverpool had control of the game. They played at a far higher tempo. The press was there. Luton couldn't get out. And every time they went forward, they looked like scoring, as opposed to the first half where they just kind of passed it around and they never really looked threatening bar the first 10 minutes. So, I mean, why do you think it's taken Klopp to, give them a rally at half time?
It's hard to say. We've always been like that as a club, though. We always seem to play better second halves. I don't know what it is, but as Meat said there, like in the second half, we were a completely different team. You were talking to me in half time, and I was absolutely I was head lost. But I just felt like we weren't. As Meat said, like up front, we were poor. We could have been 2-0 in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then Luton had us with a sucker punch. But in the second half, we were just, as me said, a completely different team. And every time we went forward, we looked like scoring. And it could have been more than 4 if it wasn't for their keeper, because to be credit to him, he made a couple of decent saves.
I mean, how big do you think last night's one was? Not just in terms of the league, but in terms of confidence, momentum going on the Sunday. Because, I mean, if they had lost that game 1-0 last night, it would have gave everyone, Liverpool fans, the players, Klopp, even maybe himself, it would have put that doubt in your head. Is this team good enough to go and beat Chelsea with the injuries we have if we can't beat Luton? But in the end, the second half performance as well, it would give you a lot of confidence for Sunday and games ahead, even if certain players were missing.
Yeah, I said to you during the week, like up until the Luton game, I wasn't worried about the cup final. Like I just wanted the Luton game out of the way. But now that we've beaten Luton very comfortably, I'm up for Sunday. And if there's a team I don't want to lose a cup final to, it's Chelsea, because their fans are unbearable. It's like them or Arsenal. No, but I think now on Sunday I'm more confident going into it. But I think we need to have Salah and Nunez fit for that one. If they're not fit on Sunday, I would be worried about where the goals are going to come from.
Mates, last night's one means no matter what happens this weekend, if Liverpool or if Man City and Arsenal both won, Liverpool will still be top by the end of the weekend. I mean, do you think that's psychologically important? You can sort of not relax because you have a cup final, but really, it doesn't really matter what happens on Saturday because Liverpool have got the points on the board. Liverpool can only really gain this weekend in the league. If Arsenal or Man City drop points, it's a big boost. If they don't drop points, well, it's just back to how it was.
Definitely, and I think too, last night, I know it was only Luton, but to me, it was massively, massively important. See, because Man City played the night before and won, and that's how you have to look at it now. That's as you say, the psychological thing comes on. But it's very rare now that any of these top 3 teams are going to be playing at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Somebody's going before the other. Either somebody's going on a Saturday, somebody's going on a Sunday, somebody might be on Monday night. So it's absolutely massive that you match the result of, like, if Man City won last night. We had one. We couldn't have fell out there losing 2 points and then them go top at the weekend and we're trying to concentrate and think going like, we have a cup final, but now we're behind in the league as well. It's just psychological. I think this is where that comes in at this time of year now. You have to be mentally strong as well as physically strong with your squad and stuff like that. Everybody's head has to be right. It's serious pressure now. And I thought they handled it really well. And I was a nervous wreck before the game because of the injury list. And I do agree with you. Like, Chelsea's a different beast on Sunday. You mightn't get away with that lineup, against a Chelsea team who held Man City out, and we know what their attacking prowess is like. So they're going to be up for 2. They haven't played midweek. They've had a full week now to prepare for us again. They know exactly what we've done to them at Anfield. So they'll be out there right or wrong as well. But I do agree with you. I think we're going to need a couple of them key players back at least. And it just goes to show the slagging and that all people be doing about Nunez, but it just shows how important he is to us, regardless, because he absolutely terrifies defences. You know what I mean? And I know he might not. Like, I'm his biggest fan, as you know, but it just shows you how important he is.
His biggest fans here.
He's massive. He's fantastic.
we haven't lost a game which he started this season.
It's impressive. He does. I mean, yeah, I thought he was
It
outstanding on
actually,
Saturday against
it
Brentford. I
actually
watched
came.
the game.
It actually came out today that Chelsea tried to sign him in the summer, which was interesting.
But they have Jackson now, so they're all right. Anyway, I mean, Mates mentioned the buzzword there, and that's going to be a feature in the night's podcast. Injuries. I mean, they're mounting up. Lost a lot of key players. Some of them long term, like Alisson, like Jota, who are starters every day of the week in this Liverpool side. And you could argue that other than Salah, Jota's your next most reliable finisher. The difference, even you seen it last night in all games this season, between Alisson and Kelleher's night and day. I mean, if Alisson's in nets last night, it's 0-0 at halftime, not 1-0. So
Yeah,
you're not going to
I
get
don't
away with
think
it. You're going to have to be watertight at the back. That's basically they're going to have to tighten up a wee bit. But I mean, are you worried that injuries could disrupt this wonderful season that Liverpool are having so far, Owen? Because I looked at the fixtures. They had Luton last night. They've got Chelsea on Sunday. They've got Southampton in the FA Cup on Wednesday, I think. They've got Nottingham Forest on Saturday. They're going to have a Europa League tie the Thursday after that, and then another one the week after that, sandwiched in between Man City. So you look at that, right up to this next international break, they're playing 3 games every 6 or 7 days, and if they have so many injuries, and who knows, they might get more. Are you just worried that could be a real negative in terms of results coming between now and the end of the season?
100%. Like when I looked at it today, we could put out an 11 of a full injured team. That's how down bad we are at the minute. And you know what it's like, because Spurs had it at the start of the season, but it just seems to be we're getting our injuries at a time where we need everyone fit because we're on every competition. And I think when the Europa League comes back, we're really going to feel it. But as you say there, it's only really 2 long-term injuries. I think Trent will be back sometime in March. So it's like could be back for Sunday. And then, as you say, John and Alisson are more longer term. But when you lose that amount of quality that we've lost, it's always going to have an effect on the squad, especially the front line. I think the defense is all right at the minute, but if we lose a Van Dijk or a Kanate, we're done. Like.
Yeah, I think you'll have one eye on the draw tomorrow. I think the Europa League draw is tomorrow morning, 10 or 11 o'clock. And you just don't know. You could end up having us. You ideally want it to be very favourable, but you look at AC Milan could be a potential opponent. They're cruising to victory here. You would want to avoid a Milan over 2 games. Not that you wouldn't beat them, but you would think you'd have to go pretty strong against them. Whereas if you played another team, you could maybe rest a few players. Because I don't think you're going to get much further in this competition unless you're going near enough full strength. Probably maybe get away with 1 or 2 changes. I don't see the teams you're putting out in the group stages probably won't be enough. So it's a tricky one to balance. Mates, I mean, how do you think that draw is important tomorrow? Are you praying it's a favourable draw?
Oh, I definitely. The easier route you can get to try and get through the final, the better. The only thing that I always think it backs us is all 2 legs. You know what I mean? It's like, we could get a job done at home and then rest players for the second leg. That kind of way. That's the way I kind of look at these games.
I think actually in this draw, because Liverpool are seeded, they would play home second.
Which I get. Well, that you see, you could afford to go later.
After that, it is open. So if you had a quarter final, you could play at home 1-4-0, and of course the second leg's over. But in this draw, Liverpool and the R7 group winners will be seeded, so play second twice, and they will play against one of the playoff winners tonight, who will be the home first leg. Potential opponents include Milan, Benfica, Ajax. I believe are an opponent as well.
Ajax are one on here. I've got that one.
Ajax are in the R competition. There is some tricky ones on there. Real Betis, possibly. Roma.
Braga.
So there are some tricky ones. Braga. I mean, none of them, they're all big names on paper. You'd expect Liverpool to go through, but
you would expect us to get through.
Ideally, you'd try to get a favourable one. I think AC Milan are possibly the strongest.
AC Milan or even Roma. They're under new
Roma's had a bit of form under Rossi.
So
let's focus on Europe.
I says at the start of the season, I would love to go it, but now we're past the group stage and we're potentially going on the quarterfinal stage and stuff like that. You kind of want to stay on it. You know what I mean? It could prove to be a hindrance in our season because of the injuries, playing on Thursday, Sunday. When then again now coming on this year, we're going to play second our league games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Arsenal and Man City are going to play before us. So we're obviously
Yeah.
going to be trying to defend by playing second. So which is far more pressure again on us. We had a depleted squad, but hopefully, as Owen says, there's only too long term. I wouldn't want to be rushing anybody back for the final. The Salahs or the Nunes are trying to get Trent or Szoboszlai back. You don't want that there. Not for a final. I would prefer that they got an extra week.
I think the thing we
maybe get fit in for the upcoming league games.
I think the thing we saw, and I don't think Salah and Nunes are injured. I think it's for Salah, I think it's fatigue, and I think Nunes just felt a wee twinge, but I don't think they're injured.
Precautions. Let's before we get back into talking about Chelsea Liverpool, let's just touch on last night's result in the Champions League. Stefan was on here on Tuesday night, giving it the butt on his high horse that Arsenal were hitting top form. Liverpool injuries were going to, Luton could be tough. And Arsenal didn't really turn up in Portugal last night and conceded one. Last kick of the game. The Porto, who probably deserved to win. It was a very feisty game. Porto, they done a number on Arsenal in terms of they knew that if they opened the game up, they would probably get beat, and they made it a real battle. And in the end, Porto bullied Arsenal a wee bit. Did Arsenal show their soft side again last night?
I just think when you're going to play them kind of teams, you know exactly what you're going to get. They'll mind games. They'll carry on what they do. Probably a lot of nonsense going on off the ball that you're not even seeing yourself. Do you know what I mean? Kept it tight.
They showed about an experience.
Arteta said it himself after. He basically said that. He says, the players didn't know what to do. They just genuinely didn't know what to do. I think they look too much on what's been happening. And somebody put, you can't play Burnley and Palace every week. Do you know what I mean? You're in the Champions League now. You might put 5 past Demons and 5 past Demons, but it's a different kettle of fish now. And I think Arsenal have done it. No, just thinking this is going to be an easy one here. We might get a 1 or 2-0 one. And hey, Stefan says it himself, and then we'll do them 5-0 at the Emirates. But now they're going to make it even more difficult at the Emirates because they're just going to sit back and try and hit them in the break because they've got the lead to defend. But Arsenal, I thought Arsenal were very naive at times. There was no creativity at all for all these amazing creative players that they have.
Not a shot.
Martinelli. That says it all. You know what I mean? That's this great attacking force. But we did question them in front of goal the other night. You asked the question, who was better? Liverpool's front, Man City's front, or Arsenal's, you know what I mean? In front of goal, and who's more ruthless? And I thought that if you looked at them 2 matches, although the opposition was completely different, it proved who's more ruthless in front of goal.
And it wasn't even Liverpool's strongest front three. It was Arsenal's strongest front three. Darren's saying that Porto have all the tools. They hurt Arsenal in London. Owen, how do you see that tie now? Because it's very balanced. 1-0 is not by any means a huge lead. If Arsenal score in the first 5 minutes, it's game on and Arsenal are favourites again. But if Porto were to go and score a goal, Arsenal under real pressure. And as you've seen in Europe, Arsenal don't have that experience. I was reading today, they haven't won a home knockout leg under Arteta since he's been there, and that's mostly in the Europa League. They haven't been in the Champions League knockout stage for 7 years, haven't made the quarterfinal, I think, for 10 years. So there's a lot of pressure on this. I know it's a completely different Arsenal squad to the one under Wenger all those years ago, but same kind of traits. They looked a wee bit soft last night.
As Meat said, they were naive and they're a young team. They still have to learn. They play on the biggest stage. They're not going to win 5-6-0 in Europe like they did against West Ham and Burnley. So it's a different kettle of fish. I have a lot of mates who are Arsenal fans, and as Kieran was saying there about Stefan, they were all saying, when we get them at home, it'll be 5-6-0, but it often doesn't turn out. I still do. I do fancy Arsenal to get 3 at the end of it. But if they don't, then they have no one to blame but themselves because they had no shots on target. And I just felt they were a bit arrogant too. They felt like they could turn up, and it was a foregone conclusion that they would beat Porto.
I've seen some of the fans on Sky Sports News. They were interviewing fans out in Porto before the game, and they were saying this is going to be an hour slaughtering session. It's going to be 4 or 5 as well. So it was the feeling amongst Arsenal fans that they were just going to turn up, and that was going to be the end of it. But as you lads know, being being
I was
European
going.
experienced teams, you know it's going to be difficult when you go to places like Porto.
I was just going to come on that. To be fair, we've played Porto a good bit in the Champions League knockouts, and they always have made it difficult. We've won in the end, but it's always a difficult game. Like it's always a slog. And as Kieran was saying too, you don't know what they'll do off the ball. The slightest touch, they're rolling around as if they've been shot by an AK-47. So like they make it difficult. And as you seen, once the goal went in, the fans just went deliriously. And to be fair, Porto had a good chances before the goal went in as well. So it could have been a few more goals for them.
Yeah, definitely could have been 2 or 3, and then it would have been a massive battle. Lads, let's turn our attentions to Sunday. It's the first silverware of the season. And I mean, I think when Liverpool runs Chelsea at the very end of last month, Chelsea fans were looking at this and thinking, do we even bother buying a ticket? Because Liverpool looked to be cooking, fully fit strength team, bar a couple. Bradley was flying, obviously, not just injuries, he's had a death in the family, and everything just seems to have gone against Liverpool since that night. But I mean, how do you see this, Kieran? I mean, all of a sudden, a few weeks ago, it was a final nobody could see Liverpool losing. Do you feel it's very much become 50-50? It's a full strength Chelsea. They've got that result at Man City. The confidence is back. Against a very much weakened Liverpool. We don't know if Nunez and Salah will be available, but even if they are, there's still going to be a lot of players missing. So how do you assess it going on?
Well, I'm kind of thinking, like, I was a lot more confident after tanking them there a couple of weeks ago, and then, they're just a bad side. But they've actually impressed me in the last couple of games. They've played really, really well. Some of their players have stood out. Like, it's a tough one. Depends. It's just so hard because we as Liverpool fans, we just haven't a clue who's playing, who's fit, who's not playing. Just I've based it on who played last night, just because we genuinely don't know. It might be 1 or 2 changes. Nunez might play, Salah might play. But even a based it on last night, as I say, in the first half, I was looking at it going, oh no, we're doomed here. There was nobody taking chances. It was just coming and going. There was no creativity up front. It was just they're playing it out to the left, the Diaz, and your man had his card mark like for the first half. And then again, the second half, I'm going, who's this team? Where'd you come out of? If you had it turned on that TV,
Liverpool don't necessarily need to be brilliant for 90 minutes on Sunday. They can have a 20-minute spell and blow you away. But this is Liverpool and Chelsea. If they have a 20-minute spell, they're more likely to miss chances than score. You've seen against Man City the chances they must. Liverpool are clinical. If they have a 20-minute spell, in the second half, it's 0-0 at half time. It could be 3-0 on 70 minutes and it's lights out. So, I mean, Chelsea are unpredictable in terms of they've went to Man City. They've played Man City twice this year, got 2 draws. They've went to Spurs and won 4-1. They've also went to Liverpool and got smashed 4-1, lost 4-2 to Wolves at home. But there is, apart from the Liverpool game away, there's a bit of a pattern there. When they play the bigger teams, it tends to suit them, So do you think that when there's less pressure on them and the fact that everyone's kind of made them second favourites, they can sort of sit back, play in the counter-attack, it almost suits them because they've got so much pace and a lot of youth?
Well, you could say that, but then all of a sudden, within a space of a week, this game's now become a 50-50. Everybody's saying Chelsea now have a chance because of the Liverpool squad. So I think there's now pressure on now Chelsea. Can Chelsea's first team beat our second team? That's basically what we're going to be looking at here, So Chelsea's fans now are going to expect here, we have a massive opportunity here. Maybe again, a week ago, they're going, oh, fuck, we see Liverpool. No, we don't want to play them. But now they're going, right, we've actually got a chance here. So I think they'll be seriously disappointed if they don't come away well-won on Sunday. Whereas we could turn around and have all excuses of the world. We had no team. But I still expect, and especially in the second half performance last night, I keep coming back to it. But if you look at that, if you didn't know what the starting lineup was and you just turned that match on at half time and watched that second half, you would have said then that, geez, that wasn't even their full side. It didn't look as if we were missing anything. Do you know what I mean? So it just shows that we can turn up and do a job regardless of who we have. So I do expect an entertaining game, and I fully expect a victory in the first couple of seasons to go back to Anfield.
Owen, I mean, despite what Mead said there and what we talked about, Chelsea coming into the game more confidence now that Liverpool have a few players out. you just don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea, even with all their players available. Liverpool rarely let you down. They have, apart from the Arsenal game this year away from home, you could say in every other game they've turned up. Whether that be in a 45-minute spell or a 90-minute spell, they've always had a good half on there somewhere. Apart from the Arsenal game, that was the only game they were very poor throughout. Chelsea, on the other hand, have had so many games where they've impressed, like Meets has said, and then our games, you think, how is this Chelsea team losing the such and such? So, I mean, as you said earlier on, if you were a betting man, would a smart man be still tipping Liverpool for victory, do you think?
I mean, I know I said penalties, but in the back of my mind too, like it's sort of no matter what Liverpool turn up, you expect us to play well no matter who we play against because it's the same system. It's not the same players, but you don't forget too. Even some of our bench players are quality. Like Gakpo, I'm not his biggest fan, but he turns up. Even last night, he notched it 2-1. So I'd be confident that we can get a few goals, but I just see this as written over as penalties again. It seems to be a Liverpool Chelsea thing, but as you say too, you don't know what Chelsea turns up. I mean, they've lost to Brentford 3-0 this season. They've lost to Wolves. They got battered by us. They should have lost to Spurs if Spurs didn't go down to 9 men. So you don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up. And as a Liverpool fan, I hope it's the Chelsea that turned up at Anfield.
That's it. I mean, Owen, a lot of talk before this game about Pochettino. He's yet to win a trophy in England. I don't think he had much opportunity at Southampton, but he had plenty of opportunities at Spurs. Some Spurs fans would say he overachieved getting them opportunities. Others criticise him for decisions he made or not getting the team over the line. I mean, do you think there's a lot of pressure on him coming on this? That if it is a half-baked Liverpool team, if we see the lineup at 2:00 on Sunday and it's no Salah, no Nunez, and it's the same team who played the other night, this is his opportunity, isn't it, to prove he can win something? I mean, do you think there's more pressure on him than there is on Chelsea on Sunday?
I mean, there's not going to be a bigger opportunity for him to beat Liverpool if we do have a weekend squad. And his goal is, as you say, he lost in this final to Chelsea a few years ago, wasn't it? As well as Spurs manager.
His second season at Spurs, his first cup final, he lost 2-0, albeit the Chelsea team went on, they won the league. But in that game, Spurs had chances too, and they didn't carry it through. I mean, how much of it is on him? The finals they lost and semi-finals, or will they just beat the better teams? I mean, because I don't look at any of them games and think they should have won that game. They played Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool. There wasn't like they didn't go and play a Southampton in there at home and lose. So, I mean, is it fair to criticise them?
It is and it isn't. Like, I mean, you're expected to at least win one of them games. You have to win at least one of your finals. Like, and this could be his biggest chance, as you say. And obviously, I hope he doesn't. But you have to add on the three. If Chelsea won this, they have European football for next season, and they're not getting it through the league by all intents and purposes. So this is their only chance to get into Europe. So I think he'll see it as a big opportunity with Liverpool having such a weekend squad. But I will be disappointed at the same time if Liverpool don't win on Sunday.
Mates, I mean, do you buy into this manager stuff? Because, I mean, as an opposition fan, if you see Pochettino in the dugout for Chelsea on Sunday, if after that Liverpool game, Chelsea had sacked Pochettino and brought Mourinho on, would you be looking at this final very differently if Mourinho was in the dugout for Chelsea?
Definitely, because straight away the man's dinosaur tactics and what he's going to do. You know what I mean? He's famously done it there at Anfield when Stevie G slipped. So you know exactly what you're up against there. Poch has got more of an attacking threat with his football, like he always has that. You've seen the way he played with Spurs, even when he was with Southampton, it was all attacking football. He's trying to build a squad to do that with Chelsea at the minute. I'm one of these people that, the manager can take 50, maybe all of the blame, but it's in some certain stages, like you have to blame players as well. Players need to step up. That manager can only send a team out to do a job. And if they don't follow instruction or do it to their best of their ability, then I think that they should be blamed too. It's quite easy to blame a manager, move on, sack him, give him a big pay packet and pick somebody else in. But I think that with the likes of Chelsea, they have to stick with him. You can't get rid of him, bring somebody else in. They start all over again. He wins this trophy on Sunday. That buys him time. Buys him so much time.
How much time do you think it buys him? How much time do you think it'll buy him if he wins? I mean, do you think that guarantees him under the?
I think it gets him on the next season now. Definitely, I do.
And
I think
if he doesn't want,
if he doesn't want that, you could probably look at them changing in the summer if they didn't, as Owen says, if they didn't go on a run in the league and secure European football for next year. I think it would be a massive disappointment. No wins, no nothing, no Europe next year. I think
if they won this game, they're guaranteed a place. If they won this game, they're guaranteed a place in the Conference League. So their league position becomes irrelevant, really, in terms of unless they were to finish higher than if they were to finish sixth. But I think I don't think they'll get that high. So this is a big game for Chelsea. FA Cup's Europa League.
No, right.
So
big game for them.
The whole season now is on Sunday. They've had such a poor season. The start of it was shocking. All the ins and outs over the summer, nobody gelling together, and then even the captain's wife coming out, slitting them, giving him abuse. Crazy, the stuff that's going on at the club's absolutely madness. But he does that now. It silences his critics. It buys him time, and he turns around and he goes, I have a platform now to build on, and nobody can deny it. You've just went and beat Liverpool, fighting on all four fronts, and you've won a trophy, but you weren't expected to win anything. You were supposed to get the sack before Christmas. So I think it's so much. I think there's actually more pressure on Chelsea if you think about it in that regard than there is in Liverpool.
It's mad though, because I think we Poch too. The ex-Spurs thing isn't helping with the fans. So if he came in and
they will crucify him if they get beaten Sunday, won't they?
If he wasn't an ex-Spurs manager, I don't think it would be under as much pressure as he is.
And let's bring it back to Liverpool. Because it's a massive game on Sunday, right? Because not only is it a cup final, it's the first opportunity to get that trophy on the board this season. If Chelsea beat Liverpool, all of a sudden you look at it and you think, well, do you know what? We're on a 3-horse race here and there's 2 points separate in 3 teams, providing the other 2 teams won on Saturday, which they are favourite. They won. Let's be honest. We do expect City to beat Bournemouth and Arsenal to beat Newcastle at home.
Yep, 100%.
You look at that, 2 points between 3 teams with 12 games to go. If you look at that has basically put 3 names in the hat and pulled one out. That could go either way. There's no guarantees there for any team. The FA Cup, there's still strong teams in it. You'd expect Liverpool to beat Southampton, but the other teams will be. It's been a favourable run in terms of all the teams have been kept apart. So you could look at that and think it'll be a very strong quarter-final lineup. And then Europa League, you just don't know. Them European trophies can go either way. Who would have thought Sevilla would have won it last year? Villarreal beat Man United the year before. So these are never easy. Not always the best team won. So the Liverpool have to want they keep that optimism that there could be a special season, because if you do lose this, all of a sudden it's a wide open Premier League. The FA Cup's not a shoo-in, and the Europa League you could meet Alonso's, but Leverkusen you could never know could be unbeaten in the final, and that would look difficult. So if you look at it, this is their best opportunity now at the minute because of the position they're in to get that trophy on the board.
Listen, if we won this trophy on Sunday, then I think it would spur us on to win more as well. As you say, it's the first trophy of a season. You always want to win the first trophy available to you this season. And at the minute, the way our squad is, it is our best chance, because I do think there'll be drop points in the league by all teams. I don't think any team will go on unbeaten from now to the end of the season. Obviously, I hope we do. Hope we go and win every game, and then I'll be celebrating right on the next season. But I can't see that happening. So we have to go now and beat Chelsea and get the first trophy on the board, because as you've seen, when we beat them the last time, we got to the FA Cup final, we won that. We got the Champions League final. Obviously, we didn't win that, and then we lost out in the league by a point. So all history goes, if we win this competition, we normally have a strong end of the season. So hopefully that continues on Sunday.
Meets, would you echo what Owen's saying, that although it's a big game because there's a trophy involved, but it's that momentum factor? If you lose this, all of a sudden you start doubting yourself, going, you know what, there's a long way to go in this title race. We still have a lot of games to win the Europa League. The FA Cup, there's still some strong teams you'd have to beat. This is a really, really good opportunity, not only to secure that, if it came to it and Liverpool walked away with a League Cup and nothing else, at least they would have something to show for this last season. So, it's huge for the momentum, isn't it?
I just think it's massive for the boys that's coming on to cover all these top players that we have missing. They come on and we go on one. These boys are going to go, geez, we can do it. We're up to the task. The confidence levels will be sky high. When if they don't, the first thing you're going to see, and Monday morning, the newspaper, Liverpool's depleted side, youngsters don't step up, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Men against boys kind of thing. You could have all them kind of headlines through at you, and then that there just sends like a massive down through the squad. Like, you know, these boys are stepping up and they like Salah's shoes, Nunes shoes, and whatever. So it's just for everybody, you know, the whole squad in general. It'd be a massive, massive boost if we could go and win this here now, and knowing that we're only going to get stronger come the end of the season and the games are coming because people are going to come back from injury. So that's it can only be a good thing for us going forward now with the last 12 games of the season. Then throw in your other couple of cup games as well, and it gives for Klopp too, the manager. He goes and wins that way to play the side. He knows then that it can count on these boys. He probably knows it already in him, but it's just proof in the pudding, you know, and it makes his job a lot easier too. That he's not hemming and hawing about putting boys in. He knows that he can just put these boys in, you know, and they can step up the plate. Like, so look, regardless of what happens on Sunday, it's going to be an exciting end of the season. But I do believe that we want the business, and it's hopefully going to push us on to greater things come May.
Yeah. And let's get into the preview for Sunday's game. I mean, where do you think the game could be won and lost on Sunday? I mean, what's your feeling amongst Salah and Nunes? I mean, I was speaking to Callum. He's pretty confident they'll at least be on the bench. I mean, would you go one step further? Do you think they'll be in the starting 11? How do you see it?
I think they'll start. I think Klopp said himself they weren't completely ruled out of the Luton game. They had a chance, but he just didn't want to risk them with the game coming up on Sunday. So I do expect them to be on. Maybe I think one of them will start and one of them will be on the bench. That's what I'll go with. I would say Sal starting and Nunes will be on the bench, because as much as Nunes is great starting, he's a great option to come off the bench if we need him to win a game. Although if it does go to penalties, I wouldn't be too confident with our recent record. We can't seem to bag him at the moment. Nunes missed one against Chelsea. Salah's missed a few, but I think the midfield's a big battle as well. You have Caicedo and Enzo coming up against the best DM in the league in Endo, but no. But I do think the midfield will be a big battle, and I hope we can win it. And I think we will, because as I said in my own video last night, I think since McAllister's come into the number 8 role, I think he's been fantastic, and I think we're seeing the best of him now when he doesn't have to play as a number 6. So the midfield, and then Weller, Salah, and Nunes start. Those will be the big deciding points for me.
If Salah and Nunes come back into a team, for example, what do you do in midfield? I'm assuming Endo and McAllister will definitely play. The big call would probably be Gravenberch or Elliott. Meets, what way would you go with them two if the other boys are available to start, and it means it's a toss up between Elliott and Gravenberch? What would you do?
I think I'll go Elliott. I thought Gravenberch was very slow last night. Didn't do much for us. Definitely, I just think, Endo's going to be there, McAllister's going to be there. They can cover, and around that area, and Elliott can free up. Gravenberch isn't really going forward. He doesn't really bring much. Elliott, he's got a goal behind him last night. Confidence as well is going to be up. That's, as you say, that's all dependent on who plays. With the other two, the only thing is, I kind of think Owen might be right. Like, you would play Salah, Gakpo, and Diaz. And then Nunes always come off a bench again. Obviously, for Gakpo, you would imagine that's what he usually kind of does. But it's just like, for me, it's so frustrating that we're 3-4 days away from a cup final and we haven't got a clue of what our starting lineup's going to be. It's just really frustrating as a Liverpool fan. We're still guessing.
You don't know.
Normally,
because the starting 11. The starting 11 when it drops on Sunday. The starting 11 when it drops on Sunday will change people's, Liverpool's fans' hopes on the game. If they see the starting 11 that played against Luton, they'll go, do you know what? This could be tough. If they see a front three of Salah and Nunes and Diaz, all of a sudden, they think, do you know what? Chelsea's on for a tough game with them three, isn't it? It's a really, really funny one.
But it'll change Chelsea's whole outlook on the game too. See, as soon as they get that team sheet and they'll go, right here, hold on a minute, he is playing. So it works both ways, I suppose, in that aspect. Chelsea Chelsea can only go for the best Liverpool team of it. They're going to plan their week around. This is what's happening. Nunes going to start. Like last night, we're lucky it was Luton we were playing, because see if it had been an Arsenal or a Man City or a Newcastle or a Spurs, he might have been pushed to play Núñez and Salah. Do you know what I mean? For that game where he's a wee bit more freedom last night because it was Luton and was expected to win. So maybe that might work in our favour, that it was just a precaution just to hold them off and let them rip on Sunday. Hopefully that is what happens. But as Owen touched on there, I think his comment about McAllister spot on. And we spoke about it at the start of the year, but in the podcast about McAllister wasn't getting played to his strengths. And I think now, and we've all been mentioned a few times like about him pushing under that role is where he plays his best football. And I do think over the last 3 or 4 games, definitely, he's come under, he's definitely found his own place there in that midfield. So I think he's going to be massive on Sunday. Because as I say, like Chelsea's midfield starting to come under a bit of form too. Gallagher, Caicedo, they are starting to play some good football.
Enzo's having his best sort of spell, isn't he? Enzo's having his best spell.
And we're all scratching our heads going, who's this boy at the start of the season? But, we Chinaman's come on, no bother him. He's playing well. But, it's going to be interesting. The midfield's a massive battle. But I just think, once we bust past that halfway line with this power we have up front, I think it's just a different kettle of fish. Like, we're just a different animal to Chelsea.
What's the score going to be on Sunday, mates?
3-1.
Takes a drink. 3-1.
3-1. 3-1. Núñez, they scored twice. And Gakpo for the Arma.
Owen, how about you? How do you see it?
I said penalties. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to go 1-1 after full time. Liverpool 1 on pens.
Liverpool 1 on pens. Darren saying 2-0 as well.
Before we go,
what I think, I think it'll be tight because I think one of them will probably start and the other one will be on the bench at best. I have a wild feeling Klopp, he's a very smart man. If he feels there's a chance he could get injured, there's a good chance that both of them could just be on the bench, which necessarily isn't a bad thing if you have them on. But the problem is if you find yourself 2-0 down at half time, even Liverpool, it could be difficult to come back from. You just don't know. So I think that'll make it tighter. If them two were fit and 100%, I think Liverpool won this game. Not comfortable, but are strong favourites. I'm going to just top Liverpool 2-1. I think
that was
Chelsea
a problem.
Probably I think Chelsea will get chances, but I just think Liverpool will as well, and Liverpool are more likely to put the ball in the net. So Liverpool.
I think that was a problem with Salah's injury. I don't think Klopp expected him, even though he was on the bench at Brentford. I don't think Klopp wanted to bring him on as quick as he did, but obviously he had to because Jota got injured.
Very careful with hamstring injuries because it's very easy to turn a grade 1 into a grade 3, and all of a sudden it's end of season. So it's very difficult. Lads, there's 8 Premier League games. We're going to fly through them. We'll do an hour, so we've got about 11 minutes to do these 8 games. Obviously Liverpool played Luton in the hour game from this weekend, and Chelsea Spurs has been postponed. They did, of course, because they want a big. Sky Sports have the rights, and they want that to be left at the end of the season, of course. So I'm hearing that game is going to be played the Wednesday before the season finishes. So, of course, if Spurs is in a top 4 fight and and Chelsea have nothing to play for, you can be sure, like they did at that Battle of the Bridge, they'll turn up and make it difficult. So, Sky know exactly what they're doing. Lads, it all starts at Villa Park, 3 o'clock on Saturday. Owen, Villa got a massive win last week against Fulham. They get themselves back in the 4th place. Obviously, Spurs were beat by Wolves. Forest, I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get with Forest. Score goals, but let them in. Villa were very strong at home, but haven't been strong lately, losing the last few. So, bit of pressure on Villa at home to get this home form back, because if they don't rediscover that, it's hard to see them finishing 4th. So, how do you see this game going?
Do you just want a quick prediction, or?
Well, you can give me your quick thoughts, and then we'll do a prediction.
As you don't know what sort of Villa is going to turn up at the minute. As you say, they've sort of lost a bit of their home form. Forest are up and down. But I fancy Villa at home. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Mates, how do you see that game?
Everybody was talking about Villa maybe pushing for Champions League and maybe even before Christmas winning the league and stuff. That was obviously never going to happen. We're not that stupid. But off the ball, even at their home form and away. But I just think Nottingham Forest, they're doomed in my eyes. I think
this points deduction is going to be announced very shortly. We hear,
and that's coming now. And if that goes that way, I think that's Eamon's down. So I'll go 2-0
because
Villa.
Everton as well could be getting some of the points back, but then they could
Uh-huh.
be getting another one as well. So you don't know.
I think what's likely to happen to Everton, what I'm hearing is they may well get 5 back and get 5 took off them, so it will make no difference at all. I think they'll just be stuck where they are now. So
There's gonna be a big legal battle at the end of the season. You know, I genuinely think it.
well, there'll only be a legal battle if a team gets shafted. I think if Forest and Everton both go down, then there's nothing really to argue, or then they can only argue themselves. But Everton
True.
can't really argue because this has been coming, and all teams relegated over them last year and the year before. So I don't think they've got a foot they stand on. Funny enough, they're the next team we're looking at, Owen.
Mhm.
They're desperate at the moment, Everton. I mean, they had that great run, and then all of a sudden, they haven't won now since the middle of December. Missed a golden opportunity, but Palace only drawing 1-1 at home. But if you remember last season, this was the game that saved Everton. They went to Brighton against all the
5-0.
odds and won 5-1. It was
5-1,
5-1, wasn't it?
5-1,
So I
I
mean,
think.
and Brighton, you can dip your hand in the hat here. If it's Brighton if it's a good Brighton, they won this game. If it's not, it gives Everton a chance. How do you see it?
I'm gonna go 1-1. You know, I think it'll be a draw. 4-0 Brighton.
Mates.
I fancy Brighton too strongly. Everton up front, shocking. Nothing there. Kevin Lewin isn't doing anything. No creativity on their midfield. They're defensively, they're brutal. Pickford's useless. I'm going to go 3-0 Brighton.
Tell us how you really feel there.
I can't stand them. Get them down.
Oliver Glasner's debut in the Premier League sees Palace take on Burnley, and you just get the feeling that this was always in the pipeline. They've timed this right so that his first game was going to be at home to Burnley. I mean, Owen, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity to get 3 points. I mean, does he get off the 1 start?
3-0 Palace. Burnley are desperate, and apparently this boy Oliver Glasner, I didn't know much about him. You were telling me he won the Europa League with Frankfurt, and apparently he plays good football. So he prepares a 3 at the back, from what I heard. So I'm gonna go 3-0 Palace. Get off to a good start.
Palace. What do you think, mates? Do you think Palace will get off the 1 start under Oliver Glasner?
I do. I think it's going to be quite a comfortable Palace victory. Burnley have done all the wrong things. They've come up thinking they can play how they played in the Championship and the Premier League, which you just cannot do. We spoke about it at the start of the season when we had one of the first shows. They might be entertaining, but Gareth, I think you said it yourself. They're not cut out. Like you have to change your style of play when you come on the Premier League. They build a pitch for them, and they're just far too open, and they get blew away as soon as they play any of the big teams. And I just think fans are going to be up for a Palace. You know what I mean? They'll be giving Hodgson, I imagine, they might do something for him. You know, they wish him well, whatever. And the players are going to
if you look at the league table, and you look at these points deductions coming, Palace won this, they're safe. So it's a big game. If Palace they know if they won this, they're more than likely safe.
You just can't see anything. You know what I mean? Emotionally too, the players are going to want to send Roy off in the hang, even though it's your man's first game. Because nobody's seen him. But and IU was out giving him a nice touch now with the things he says about him. So I just think they're going to want to do the right thing, and I think they'll blow Burnley out of the water 3-0 as well.
Man United, the league's unformed team, I keep being told. And I have to watch out for them for the top 4. I mean, they have won games, but I'm yet to be convinced this is sustainable. It's very much tight games, and I mean, Luton had great chances last week, and it just seems to be going their way at the moment. Hoyland seems to everything he hits goes on, even if it hits him, it goes on. Whereas the first half of the season, he couldn't do anything right. Owen, Fulham are very hit and miss. You don't know what you're going to get from them either. But, I mean, United find themselves in a position with Spurs not playing. They won this, their level with Spurs all of a sudden. So they'll look at this as a massive opportunity, won't they?
Well, they will. They're so bad. It annoys me that they're so bad. It's like, how are they winning these games? Luton actually should have been about 3-0 in front, or 3-1 at least, the amount of chances they have. But I do think they'll continue their form. I'm gonna go 2-1 United.
I think their humble might come the weekend after at Man City. That'll be interesting. Mates, how do you see this game? What do you think?
I hope they keep their form up against City. They can do well that day. The rest, I don't care.
How do you see this United renaissance? Do you see there much legs on it? And how do you think they'll get on Saturday?
I don't know. Hey, it's no, don't get me wrong. I haven't been impressed. I haven't been like, oh look, United's back, kind of Rio Ferdinand stuff. It's they've been winning games and they've done all right. They won games because they've been under the cosh quite a bit in them games. Teams have definitely had opportunities against them, just obviously haven't taken them. There might be a whole new boost now. There's these players are now playing for their futures at Man United with a new ownership thing happening. So, and this man looking at his interviews not going to take no shite.
Yeah.
He's just going to start getting rid of boys. So there's a lot for them to play for between now and the end of the season. Regardless of how it looks like, your man Hoyland is starting to fire for them. And they're coming, as you say, they're coming off him every way, and they're going on the back on it. But I fancy them 3-1 at the weekend. But I do think that their wheels will fall off a week later away from home.
Unfortunately for you. And that team they'll be playing will be Man City in the Manchester Derby, I believe, Sunday week.
6-0
5:30, lads. Quite a good Saturday lineup in terms of the evening games. 2 live games featuring the 2-hour title contenders with Liverpool in the final. First one up's Man City with Bournemouth. And although Bournemouth can play well, you just look at this and fancy Man City because Bournemouth are open. You seen what Liverpool did to them. They blitzed them in a 45-minute spell, and I think this is although again Bournemouth are decent, I just think this is a game that'll suit Man City. Owen, how do you see this game?
I agree with you. Bournemouth play a very open style, and as you say, we killed them in 45 minutes. So I'm going to go Man City 5-0.
And I always think, mates, I think Paul Merson always sums this up well. The fixtures, these are the types of games you'd want at this stage of the season. Bournemouth have nothing to play for now. They're safe. They're going to have a go. You'd rather be playing at Bournemouth than going to Everton, who are scrapping for their life. Bournemouth are going to open up. This is a dream game for Man City, isn't it?
You would think Man City are looking at that, looking at the run on last 12 games, going happy days there, nice speed one there now. Liverpool's not playing this weekend, time to close the gap. Happy days, we're playing Bournemouth away. You just don't know with Man City. I think if Haaland's firing, it puts away the chances. No, many chances in his last 2 games, and he didn't. Something's telling me that Bournemouth's going to script a 2-2 draw.
Two-all draw.
Solanke.
I have a wild, funny feeling. The same feeling's going to be tingling for the next fixture too. Newcastle might go to Arsenal to get something.
What Saturday night?
What do you think? Both Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Then Arsenal.
There is on a quarter date, so I'll be watching that.
There is on a quarter date too. Arsenal, fun enough, would have been playing at 12:30, but because they played away in Europe last night, that new rule that come on means they have to play at 8 o'clock. So, I suppose for the viewers, it's good because you've got 2 live games on a Saturday night. Owen, if this was last season, you'd be more confident of Newcastle. I remember Newcastle going to Arsenal last year around Christmas time, and they made it a real slog, and it was a 0-0 draw. And I think Arteta and Eddie Howe had a row. But the Newcastle this season are just like an open bus. They're just teams are playing through them, scoring loads of goals. They seem to be well, if their last 3 games have been 4-4, 3-2, and 3-3, or sorry, 2-2. So they seem to be scoring goals but letting them in. And Arsenal are the opposite. They're not letting many in. I mean, I fear for Newcastle, and I think Arsenal will try to come back with a response after what happened last night. How do you see it?
I agree as well. I think Newcastle will get a goal though, and as you say, Newcastle they were very lucky to get a draw against Bournemouth last week, and then the week before or 2 weeks before that, whatever it was, they were very lucky to get a point in Luton. So I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal, unfortunately, and Stefan will be calling them the world's greatest team since sliced bread because they beat Newcastle.
Mates, any funny feelings here for Newcastle?
I do, and it's just because of the midweek travel and stuff, and I'm actually Arsenal during the week. You know what I mean? I see when you look at that there, when you look at that fixture at the start of the season, you're going, that's a potential banana skin, regardless of form, whatever. I would look towards Liverpool, especially whenever we're playing away to Newcastle, change of park. And I know it's the opposite way about, but no, Newcastle have to. They need to. You know what I mean? They're going to take a massive.
They did beat Arsenal. They did beat Arsenal in the reverse game, so.
Very controversial.
Hey, and Arsenal, you uses the Arnick, Stefan. You know, Arsenal have been playing their best football when there've been no European matches. Now they're on the European trail again. You know, with games midweek and week, so it's a big thing to see how they react to this here at the weekend. You know, it'll take you where they are mentally. So it's a massive game for Arsenal, and it's brilliant for the title race. Like, you've got Man City on first, Arsenal on second, and then Liverpool obviously in a final. But I think that's the way you're going to actually see these games now from now to the end of the season. One after another, like that. There, it's going to be really, really interesting. But I think it's a massive, massive game for Arsenal there, especially after last night's result, and they put these demons at bay and put everybody, keep them quiet about this no European football, and that's only when you play well. So we'll see.
It could be
here,
a good
prediction. 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle. I mean, it could be an interesting Saturday because you say these boys are looking forward to going to the bar on Sunday, but I mean, you'll be bouncing down to the bar if Man City don't win and Arsenal don't win on Saturday night. So it's a nice wee warm up for you. Funny enough, you mentioned the Derry game, Owen. Make sure to tune on the Drive 105 tomorrow night. I'll be doing the preview. I'll be in the studio tomorrow night. We're going to be connecting to our commentators down in Sligo. But we'll be, me and D. Kern will be previewing the game beforehand, giving you your half-time and full-time analysis. So definitely tune on for that.
You did very well Friday night there as well.
Oh, thanks.
You did,
there's some more content coming out
when you make it the big time.
Don't worry, these boys will come with me.
I want to interview Sky Sports.
You can just quickly give me your score predictions for these two games because I don't really see much point in previewing them. Wolves, Sheffield, I think we all fancy home runs. On Monday night. How do you see Monday night going? West Ham, Brentford, big game for Moyes.
2-1 Brentford. West Ham are desperate at the minute.
Lads, before we sign off, mates, you did say back in June that you fancied Liverpool. They won the league. It couldn't be tighter up there between three teams. Are you still confident that Liverpool will deliver the league title this year?
100%. We've got a cushion now at the top. You know what I mean? Even now, Man City play them. They play now over the weekend. We're still top regardless what happens. The 10th of March is the big one, and I think everybody's been saying it. But I think we beat Man City comfortably on the 10th of March at Anfield.
These shouting.
We go on to great things. This is it back in June, July, whenever it was, and I'm standing by it. I'm not really bothered about the other trophies, the Europa League and FA Cup at the minute. You know what I mean? Until I care about Sunday now because we're actually in a final.
You'll be happy enough with.
I would take one in the league out of all four. I'd be quite happy.
100%.
Oh, and how do you? I mean, you said to me at the start of the season, Man City. You says Man City first, Liverpool second. Back in June, you've changed your mind at Christmas and says Liverpool first, Man City second. Do you still believing that Liverpool will be champions?
Just about. I do think we'll beat Man City at Anfield, but I don't think it'll be comfortable. I think it'll be like a 1-0, 2-1. But the funny thing is, we can go to Man City and draw now, and it wouldn't be a bad result. But you only won them games.
Lads, thanks for coming on. It's been a really good podcast. Darren saying love Meats prediction. Meats has been saying that all season, to be fair, so he's been straight. Anybody just joining in, don't be thinking this is just a deranged Liverpool fan. He said in July and June he believed Liverpool had won it, so he's been sticking to his word. Lads, brilliant to have you on again. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. I'm also going to the pub as well to watch it with a few Liverpool fans, so that'll be quite interesting. Make sure if you're new around here to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, keep an eye on Drive 105 on Saturday night for the Derry City stuff as well. Lads, enjoy the game Sunday and see you soon.
Cheers, lad. Come on. Right on.